This was a research when we are trying to understand, the percentage of involvement of migrants in self-employment. So we did this comparison between people with Slovenian citizenship who were born in Slovenia and also their parents were born in Slovenia. And we could also already find out, we found out that the percentage in general, in comparison to all other OECD states, is lower. So self-employment is not something that Slovenia would actually support, obviously. But in the case of migrants and let's say second generation people, especially if they're women, they have less possibility to become self-employed, and they have higher possibility to become unemployed. So there is certainly some systemic discrimination at work, which is aimed against foreigners, people with immigrant roots, especially if they're women.
Our research from 2018 was conducted within PANT-PASS project, and it was based on the needs of asylum seekers and refugees in two Slovenian cities, Ljubljana and Maribor. We actually, this was preliminary research with which we discovered the needs, and then we addressed those needs with activities that we formed in the following steps of the project.
Aurora Coworking is really about people. It is not a coworking space, let's say a traditional coworking space. We live in Murska Sobota with less than 20,000 inhabitants. So the traditional coworking model would not work. Actually, I even know that for Ljubljana, that is our biggest city, having a co-working space that resembles another co-working space from a bigger city is extremely difficult. So we decided to have a very different model. It works as a cooperative, right? So Aurora Coworking starts 6 years ago. I had completely different expectations of how it was going to be. I thought it could become kind of a business, or at least a source of income. But soon after, I found out that that was not the case. And actually, and happily somehow, I found with my members that making a business out of co-working is a bad idea, at least for smaller cities. Today, we are calling these kind of co-working spaces rural co-working spaces. And it's not because they are connected with farms or cows or chickens, but it is because there's a definition that is given rounds that is that any co-working space that operates in a city that has less than 50,000 inhabitants is considered a rural co-working. So as you can imagine, there are only 2 cities in Slovenia that have more than 50,000 inhabitants. That is Ljubljana and Maribor. Inside of our co-working space of self-sustainability and support. The problem that we are trying to solve is loneliness, believe it or not. It is not about business, as I'm saying. Everyone is a business person there. But what we care about is to talk with each other, to share our experiences, to support each other in many different ways, right? So that's basically Aurora Coworking. But of course, Aurora Coworking has in its DNA the basis, I mean, the core of entrepreneurship. So we believe that entrepreneurship starts with people, right, that share a common goal. and then they connect. And the connection helps them present themselves as an example, as a light in the dark. We believe in Aurora Coworking that every member and every person that interacts with us is capable of becoming a role model, an example for others to follow. And we have seen also throughout our 6 years of experience that one of the biggest challenges that entrepreneurs have all around is fear. And it is a crazy enemy because we don't even know we have it.
Organizations represent ethical values horizontally in all sectors, indeed, in both economy and social society. And they also produce the social impact. The social impact is very important, and the important one of the social impacts are also inclusion. We are talking about this now. Precarious work, we all know what it is. When we are talking now to inclusive about inclusive society, this is very important issue. Precarious work, we know that is all what is not permanent employment, which is precarious employment and means capital before person and maybe even exploitation of the workers and so on. And the precarious workers are potentially everyone when we have no sure or safe job. Can be students, can be elderly, Roms and disabled and so on. When we're talking about inclusion of vulnerable groups, it is very interesting statement from Dr. Matjaž Mule that society without ethics and social responsible is dangerous. Indeed, is dangerous. So we, as society, we have to be aware of this. And regarding standard ISO 26000 from 2010, the ethical behavior is very important for every organization.
My presentation, I shall start with a saying which I really, really like, and I think it's the best for all of us, most of us. It says that in life, most of the time, others throw stones on our life path, but it depends on us. How should we use those stones? We can either build bridges or walls in front of us, which means there are always a prejudice. When there's a newcomer in the country or in the town, of course, you cannot expect all the best at once, not because of prejudice, but most because of the effort we have to offer in order to catch up with the life of natives. I come from, okay, I have been invited here as an intercultural mediator, which means we have to understand the terminology in front of first. Being a mediator doesn't mean being a translator or interpreter. It means translating one mentality into another one. Sometimes, unfortunately, we need an interpreter or mediator, even if we are talking about two people of the same culture. Unfortunately, it happens to us every day. Now, my personal opinion, what cultural intermediator is, in fact, is an architect of communication among two countries.